Hello, Namaste. It's me, Dambaraj Joshi, MPhil second semester student at Nepal Open University, presenting on what is a relevant translation, a lecture by Jacques Derrida in French, and it was later translated into English by Laurence Venuti. The part of this essay is also done by one of my friends, and here I will be talking of who is Derrida and what is his ideas regarding relevant translation. Now, first of all, let me take you to the brief note on Derrida. Jacques Derrida was born in 1930 and died in 2004. He was a French philosopher and known as the father of deconstruction. It is an approach to understanding the relation between text and meaning, or we can also say that it is a process of reading text looking for the meaning that counters the intended meaning. For example, a text can have one meaning, but the reader reads that text going beyond that meaning, or going for the opposite meaning that is intended there in the text. So this is deconstruction. He was also the critic of Western philosophy and analyst of nature of language, writing, and meaning. He was controversial and influential writer as well. His major contributions are on the areas of metaphysics, deconstruction, and philosophy. Uh, this essay is taken from a lecture Derrida gave in 1998 at the 15th annual seminar of a French organization, Essai de la Traduction Littéraire Arles. This is one of the organizations there in France which promotes the process of literary translation. And his speech was quite influential and instrumental. This was revolutionary as well in the field of translation. Derrida argued for deconstruction with an example from the Shakespearean play The Merchant of Venice. He has used so many examples from this play time and again in this essay, and he views that perfect translation is impossible. A translator cannot get perfect translation, and if he or she tries to achieve this is so terrifying as well, because this problem is so much insolvable, because he or she may lose different thing during translation. Because of this insolvency, Derrida left this field, and he says that maintaining equivalence is very hard as well. In case of translation, a translator cannot maintain equivalence because it is full of gaps and mistakes. During translation, a translator can have so many gaps and mistakes. And he also talks of a well-versed translator as well, who is very good at reading and writing across the context. As context is so much important in case of translation, a translator should be aware of different context, source language context and the target language context as well. But the defects of language might breach some important laws. See, Derrida also talks of deconstruction of traditional notion of translation. As traditional notion of translation says that it is just transformation of basic meaning. But he says no, translation is not just the transformation of basic meaning. This is beyond that. So this is very difficult to ask. And this is difficult because guest word cannot have proper host words and culture as well. They cannot dissolve in that host culture. And next thing is he also talks of undecidability of the translator. A translator may feel undecidability because of these different problems. He has presented examples from the Merchant of Venice, and the meaning of that text is under erasure. This is in the way of changing. See, the many times it is translated, the meaning of this is changed time and again. because of the uniqueness of cultural terms, linguistic terms, and political terms. They have different contextual meaning, so the meaning of the whole text is changed. And translation is so context specific as well. A context play important role regarding translation. He has presented example of a word relevant, which has different meanings in different contexts. So a word can have multiple meanings. So this is so much difficult contextual meaning. And he also talks of relevant translation, which is taken as good translation. Good in the sense that this is relevant, equivalent to the original, but this to gain this is so difficult as well. He also says that each translation has different meaning. For example, if we translate Munamadan this time, and for the next time, if another translator translates that, these two versions of the same Munamadan, same source text, can have different meaning. Some of the modifications can be there. Now, next thing is relevant translation is what seems good to both the translator and the reader. If the translator and the reader thinks this is good, then this is relevant translation. Derrida also talks of translatability and untranslatability, which is a relative concept. For him, everything is translatable and untranslatable at the same time. Translatable in the sense that a translator can get partially goodness because of the loss of some of the terminologies or some of the inequivalencies. And gain and loss is here compared with the pound of flesh in the merchant of Venice, for which there is tussle among the we can say the characters, and there is also untranslatability because of the fear of loss and because of the fear of not relevant meaning. And he also talks of undecidability because of a signifier and a signified relationship, because a signifier can have so many signifiers. Because of this, a translator can feel undecidability. He also talks of translation as quantitatively equivalent to the original. The relevant translation should be quantitatively equivalent to the original, because it avoids reduction and oversimplification. If it is quantitatively relevant, equal to the original, there will not be any much more simplification and reduction as well. So for him, nothing is stable with regard to the relation of source text and the target text. Meaning is changed according to culture. Meaning is changed according to different contexts. So nothing is stable. Next thing is, notion of relevant translation is under erasure because there is transformation, but it is to be practiced as there is no alternative to it. He also says that a translator should try to go for best one, even for sense-to-sense translation. And he also suggests to take care of the role of context in translation, because this is so much focused one. Meaning is context specific in case of translation. There can be so many challenges of a translator. One can be the relativeness of translation. A translator need to go for the perfect translation for the readers, but he may not get that. This is one of the challenges. Another thing is the theme of economy. That is another challenge for the translator, because a translator should be, we can say that, economic in translation. Another one is incalculable equivalence. This is again the problem, because a translator cannot get quite equivalent terms regarding the source and target text. And he also says that all translations are in the risk of violation, because the meaning of translation may be changed time and again. Thank you. This much for the time being.